Whereas we didn't get that as much, and we were out there just grinding. Training left foot, right foot, grinding to be that baller.
No ball games.
We're still there, still causing havoc, still hitting cars with the ball, all sorts.
Windows getting smashed out. Sorry, Brian. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the After You cast. This channel, this platform is all about bringing unique conversations, different people to the platform, and I always like to source from home. I like to source from the people that I know. I like to sit down and have conversations with people that, I've grown with, and also get to see what they're up to as well. So it's a great opportunity for us to sit down, especially in this fast-paced moving world that we're in. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my guy. Introduce yourself to the people, brother.
I'm Ashley Barnes. Background in sales, obviously grew up with UT.
Yeah, man.
20 plus years of knowing each other now. It's been some time.
Yeah, man.
And we've only sort of caught back up most recently.
Yeah.
But it comes natural when you've got that love for each other.
That's it.
That energy's always there.
Trust me.
And it's like we never left.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. And thank you for coming on for today, bro.
I appreciate you having me.
Beautiful people. Some of you might even recognise my boy Ash because we go back. You might recognise him. Some of my circle will know him, and obviously people from the South area. You know what I'm saying? But these conversations are so key, not just for where we come from, but to be able to show the progression to other people that are out there, some people that are from our hometown trying to do their thing too.
Yeah.
And it just gives them more examples and more lanes where they can say, okay, cool, I know Ash, I see what he's doing. Like, that's the reason why I sat down with people like Josh, like Calvin. I had Tony recently on as well too. Shout out to Tony.
Shout out to TT, yeah, definitely. It's been some time since I've seen him, and a lot of love to you. You taught me a lot, for sure.
This is what it's about.
A lot.
That's what it's about.
That's what it is about.
And we were just talking off camera before this as well. It's like, it really is a small world, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is small. Slough's quite a small place. But I think there's a lot of love to be shown out there, T. And we don't. I don't think it's shared enough, but it certainly needs to be. Do you know what I mean?
Agreed. And that's part of the reason that I started this platform, like real talk. When you look at like Slough and you look at how it's developed over the years, it's kind of a slow burner, isn't it?
It is,
because you look at the Olympians, the athletes, the entertainers, the business people that have come from the town.
Yeah.
Like, it's illustrious. Like, we've got people that have gone to the highest levels, but you tend to find that we have to go outside and travel far and wide to gain that.
To get that opportunity, absolutely.
Yeah, and then there's not necessary connection route back home.
Yeah, totally get that. I think, to get the opportunities, in Slough, it's quite difficult. But like you said, there's many athletes, many people that have come from the town, and they've been very, very successful.
Yeah.
And I think we also need to create opportunities for the youth of today. Like, there's not much forum here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We've both grown up in a council estate. For our sins, but we managed to steer clear from what's around us.
Yeah.
Being there's a lot going on around us, and it's not sugar coated. there's many people that go down the wrong path, and you can only pray for them and hope that they get led back onto the straight path.
Yeah, man.
But it's about sort of creating the opportunities for the youngsters. All you hear about on the media nowadays is stabbings one after the other.
I literally said that last episode, bro. Literally was talking to Kenny about it, saying that, like, you know, we need a more well-rounded example of our story. You know, like more well-rounded scope of like what we do. And unfortunately, when you do break through, you're seen as an anomaly. You're seen as like it's like a far-fetched thing. You know what I'm saying? It's so, like, such a small percentage of us like finally get those chances and lanes to, because when I speak with people about the things that I've done, and you know, sometimes I feel like I have to like rein it back in because I don't want to feel like I'm gloating.
You're gloating. People don't know what there's people obviously that know you, and there's people that know us mutually, but people don't know if, you know, what you've done in your football career and you as a person. And I think, like you said last time, it's like I remember we were speaking before, and you were saying that, you know, sometimes you have to explain to people and talk to people and show how good you was as a footballer, because they don't really know how good you was, you know, and some of the ballers that are obviously around Slough. We've, like we said, growing up in the council estates, we haven't got that funding behind us. You know that these more wealthier families tend to have, and they can fund their career for their youngsters
and the development.
Whereas we didn't get that as much, and we're out there just training left foot, right foot, grinding to be that baller.
No ball games.
We're still there, causing havoc, still hitting cars with a ball, all sorts.
Windows getting smashed up. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, man. So it's a tough one, but I think most importantly, like, the message to get out there is you have to persevere. I think it's very, very difficult to keep yourself disciplined and willpower at such a young age. Like, a lot of youngsters have that dream of kicking ball. I mean, that was my life growing up, as it was yours and many other guys, you know, that we know mutually. And I think you definitely got to have an alternative plan just in case it doesn't happen, because we know how hard it is in that football world and political. Growing up through the ranks and stuff, so it's definitely key to have a plan.
Agreed.
Shouldn't football work out for whatever reason that may be? You know.
No, agreed. And I mean, like I said, I think when the tougher the environment that you grow up in, it's almost like the opportunities feel that much more important. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, when you don't make it, that fallback is so difficult, because the options aren't as visible. I won't say that they're not there. I'd say that they're just less visible. You know what I mean? Like, even myself, like, being quite well versed, quite well educated, I still, once the figuring out of football was coming, I could see it wasn't gonna quite materialise the way I wanted it to. Still, you go through those same thoughts that most other footballers go through. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, without that deep dive search into yourself and say, okay, what skills can I pluck from here? The perseverance. What can I take that's going to help me move forward? Even if it's a small few percentage points, and then you gather momentum from there.
Without a doubt.
Really difficult.
It is difficult. I mean, you luckily, you know, thank God, you're academically minded as well as the practical side. For someone like me, I'm not the most academic guy. I'm far from, you know, I managed to get A-level education, but you know, for me, I can't sit here and say that I was a clever guy in school, because I wasn't. My focus was purely sports, purely football, as I'm sure it is with a lot of guys, but like you said, there was nothing for me to fall back on. I just sort of coasted, and managed to get myself out of that feeling. That feeling. It's hard. That feeling.
You could say it's definitely more feeling based when you go through that as a youngster, especially. So, like, we're obviously talking about young boys to men, but any young people in general, when they transition into, you know, from sport, I mean, for myself, I could definitely I had a little bit more of that cushion, you can say, from having good family around me. I was pushed in education, so that I kind of had a few different things I could.
You had a good support system, right?
100%. But like,
not everyone has that.
No, they don't. They definitely don't. You know, and I think there's room for conversation about, you know, this, what we're doing here, which is somebody that's come from, let's say, you was very honest about not being quote unquote the smart guy at school. You know, it was kind of different for me because I dealt with the other side of like not being accepted because I was smart, if that makes sense. Okay. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it makes sense.
Opposite.
Because it's like people have, you know, birds of the same feather flock together.
Yeah.
But what happens is similarity, you know, in life, I think is kind of like, it's conditioned to where you come from, your class groups, you know, money, income. They kind of tend to segment and push you into a certain path. Do you know what I mean? So like when you're talking about coasting, that's the part that I would recognise. That's where a lot of young people start to go missing, start to have a lot of problems. Like you said, you was able to persevere through that.
I was.
You know?
I was.
What was that period like?
That period was that I can't sit here and say it was easy. It was mostly one of the most difficult times of my life. You know personally because I'm close with you, but obviously losing mum at the young age of 20, I had just at that point started to break into the conference premier at Hayes and Yedin. You know, finally got on a bench for the first team, and you know things were looking up. But then mum, I obviously lost mum. You know, God bless. She was my world, and she was the one who actually always pushed me to play football. And she was the one who wanted me to make it as a footballer. She gave me that drive. She just always had that dream for me, as much as I wanted it myself. And when she went, obviously, it was a big hole in my life. I stepped away from football at that time due to my circumstances. I wasn't that guy that, unfortunately, I've got an injury and I'm hanging up my boots. It wasn't that for me. I would have much rather it have been that, but it wasn't. It was due to the fact that I had two younger siblings. So I had to step back, become the man. The household. I did. Mum was a single parent. You know, we were living on a council estate, and it was hard times. But I managed to dig myself out of that, pay the bills, keep the roof over my head. Most importantly, you know, my obviously siblings, they're doing their thing and they're all okay. And I think that was that transition from when I lost her to having to take that man responsibility and really take full independence. You know, it was so difficult. Because you're thrust into it, and there's no choice. I had no choice, so I could have easily gone down the wrong path. Being, you know, gone up in the state, like there's opportunities to do that. Do them sort of things, and we know what we're talking about, going down the wrong lane. You know, whether that be drugs, whatever it is. You know, it's all there. Nothing good. And I've been in situations myself where I've had them opportunities to do that, but I think it's about not being one of those sheeple people, right? Which I know I think you touched upon recently, but it's important not to become sheeple, bro. We've got to be the leaders out here. And just bring positive energy, and do what we can. I think, you're in the right way. No, you're so true. I mean, like the biggest thing that highlights in all of that to me is, like, you know, obviously, you know, big condolences to you. Obviously, we speak off camera. It's a different thing. This ain't really for the camera, but you know, that's a very serious thing, and also to share that. You know, like, I appreciate that, bro. And like you said, it forces you to have to take those steps that maybe you thought about before. You know what I mean? And it's like now you have to make this move and then make it work, as opposed to maybe question two potential moves or multiple options. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes when you're forced one down route,
down one route,
Yeah.
you're essentially now in a position of, all right, cool, I need to now reanalyze from here. I don't have any other choices. It simplifies things sometimes, even though you're operating from a place of pain.
Exactly that. And it, very much so. And I never, what we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
When I was saying you have a good support system around you, for example, I never had that.
Yeah.
And I don't envy you for that. I don't envy the next man from that. You've got to make the best out of what situation you're put in, and you just have to. I think it's mentality, isn't it? T. It's like having that right thought process.
Yeah.
There's opportunities out in the world. You've got to go out and grab them. You can't just sit back and think, I need a quick buck, I need to do this and that, I'm not no millionaire, I live comfortably, but I have the drive and the ambition that I wanted to get myself out the hood, so to speak.
That's true.
And just get to that the best place that I can be with my family, have children, have a beautiful family, and bring them up the best that I can, and give them everything that I essentially didn't have. Do you know what I mean? That's the drive that it's given me. But that doesn't mean my mum didn't give me anything, because she gave me everything that she could possibly give me from what she had, and she gave me the most love that she could ever give as well. But it's,
of course, you want to progress it. You want to have and do the things that would have brought a lot more comfort and ease to your life. And let's be honest, like we come from council estate, not much money, school dinners, do you know what I'm saying, babysitters,
them sponge and custard, them ones, not that they were bad.
What happens to that? Remember the cake?
The
cake. Listen, there's many cakes. That's shout out to the old school dinner ladies back in the day.
Back in the day. Oh my god!
Still shit in them.
Quality, man.
The little hot plates. Oh, listen, I loved it.
What ladies they were?
Good, special people. Good, man. Special people. And just on a little side note as well too. That's something that I always try to impress on people. Like, I think one of my biggest skills has not been my intelligence, because that's gifted, that's support, that's you mentioned, the support system. If I didn't have that support system, would I be as articulate, as educated as I am now? Probably not. So I have to give a lot of that up to the people that have helped push me. However, my personal skill, I think, is my ability to reason with people, be able to see multiple different vantage points, and actually have some form of empathy. And then when you're coming from without, you're seeking things, you're seeking information, you're seeking knowledge. How can I get better? How can I get more connected and actually provide value to people? And that stage, I think, for me in the last year or two, I've said this, has been the most beneficial thing for me, in terms of understanding, this is what my purpose is, this is the value that I bring to people, and it's tangible. Which is very, very good, because sometimes in the world we create things that aren't necessarily tangible, services or concepts, ideas, but it's really powerful when you have a tangible product / service that you can actually give to people.
And you'll get, you're obviously, you doing this, the After You cast as well, T, it's giving people the opportunity to explain their story and giving the message to other people out there that may not necessarily, want to talk about things. Like, I don't like to talk about things. I'm quite a private guy, and it's hard for me to talk about things. Like, genuinely is. I think me even coming on here talking, I don't want to keep revisiting obviously situation with mum, but coming on here talking about mum, like, I don't talk to anyone about those sort of things, and I feel that obviously I can open up to you on here, and there might be the next man that I don't know from Adam out there that's maybe in a similar situation to what I've been in, or losing your mum. I found it one of the hardest things in the world, but what the message that I can get out to those guys is that if they are in not the best of places or whatever it may be, that there is always a way forward, and you can always create opportunity. It's whether you want to do it, isn't it?
That's true. Do you have the will? Do you have the desire? And that touches back to the football, which I think is the initial push for a lot of us. Like, quick honourable mention for some of the Slough ballers, you know, like we come from an area like we could even take it back to the Lloyd Owusu days.
Oh wow, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Setting the trends.
Yeah.
And just creating that little bit of an open door for people from this area, and then it follows up with a multitude of coaches / players, the Tony Thompsons, the Alan Parises.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
you had Lawrence with Tony as
well, who was just like revolutionary for helping young boys find a space. And
Absolutely.
then, you know, even just the boys I know from like likes of you know, Courtney Brooks, like Billy Clifford, Michael Creamer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's Josh Parker, who I think was on to a lot, who I didn't actually grow up close with. But,
absolutely.
You know, it's that same connection, you know, when it comes to the ballers. You know, we're connected in a different way, even though we're not like we don't see each other. It's like we said,
we was talking about it.
We ain't seen each other like not until recent times.
Yeah.
But, you know, look how natural the connection.
And I know of you know, these guys you mentioned it. I know of them. You know, I might have crossed paths with them, and they were all ballers, like you said. We had Sonny. There was Sonny. You know, we grew up with Sonny. Shout out Sonny. There was a few out there.
And also as well too. I don't want to just mention the boys that, let's say, had an opportunity at an academy or somewhere like that, which is someone I mentioned, but even some of the other boys that didn't quite get a chance, didn't get quite a look in, had just as much talent.
Absolutely.
Just as much as ability.
There was so much talent, especially in the youngsters of Slough, man, back in the day.
Listen, I mean, quick short story, you know, I remember the first time I saw you, bruv, playground. Because different age group, he was a year above me. So like we weren't in the same class, but playground is where you see everyone, isn't it? So I remember the first time, because I moved from where I was at Wexham over to St Mary's.
Yeah.
I remember coming to the playground first time, because you know, you get a gauge the playground of who's who,
what's that person
what's
doing,
that, who's that lot over there, okay, cool, couple little cute girls, okay,
couple of little cuties,
I see. You know it goes. So
Jesus.
I remember coming out and I was just like, alright, cool, we're gonna play football. A couple of the boys like, do you wanna come play football? Shout out to Oliver Gemma, another baller.
Wow, I love it. Left footer, was he?
No, he was a right footer.
Oliver Gemma, right footer,
yeah, right footer.
Okay.
He was like my little partner in our year group, innit?
Okay.
And then I didn't realise there was other ballers at the school. You know, ones where you just play. Me and Ollie were just playing, I remember. And then playground, we started playing. That's when the likes of yourself was there. And I remember the first time I saw you wearing a sharp Man United shirt, the grey one.
Oh wow, originals
with the collars.
I remember. Big collars. Wow, you've got amazing memory, man.
I've got a picture memory. So like, I remember coming out, we had that little tarmacky stone. One you fall on that way, your knees are finished. Remember me had the little green there, and I saw you kicking it back there, and I was thinking, who's this guy just running through everywhere? I was like, wait, that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's what you do as well, man.
So I was just like, I came out, I saw you, and then that was the first interaction. We just played on the little playground there. And I was just, you know, when you see other players that have just got that little bit of something,
you know, you have that eye for it. Right?
You have an eye.
You know, he can kick ball.
100%. But like, outside of that, because at that time I was already swept up and I was pretty much at Watford at the time. So my outside world was just homework, football,
additional
back to school in that cycle. So like, I didn't get a chance to meet a lot of the other Slough ballers. Do you know what I'm saying?
You sort of did. It was. You were so like, obviously, Dad, your pops had you. You know, shout out to pops. True. What a guy. But he had you. You know, he was training you hard as well, and really supporting you, and
that was
giving you that additional. Which that's something I wish I had.
Extra man.
Again, that support, man. Which would have been nice.
100%.
You know, rather than just that. You know, that own. Just you on your own, and just I was out there training on my own, on my ones, focusing on that.
I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
It's deep. It's like, I think that's a lot of the ballers from Slough as well. I mean, like, outside of my dad, because my dad did athletics, so his thing was more about having you mentally and physically prepared. Because obviously he didn't understand the technical elements of the game, but he competed at a very high level in athletics. So if you want to compete at a professional level, well, you're gonna have to do this, and this. And then it was kind of like, people always saw me doing things, and I was always connected with him. But a lot of the time, it was like things he'd set up, and then he'd kind of like be like, "All right, cool, you're gonna do it." And then
I remember coming across you in Pakistan. Just he had the set out, the agility set out, the left foot, right foot, whatever pick you fancy.
Yeah, man.
And, he had it. I remember just coming over to the Astros in Wexham.
Shout out.
You had
to hop over the fence.
Hop over the fence.
Listen.
What criminals?
Wow.
We used to jump how tall were the fences?
Listen.
Yeah, we used to climb them.
We used to every day.
Gosh, man, what a
in the
rebel!
summer.
What a rebel! What a rebel we was. Eh?
Literally, there was either that or it was a hole.
It's a hole.
Someone pliers that I didn't even know who got to it, but someone got there early doors, and I was just like, blessings.
Hindsight, great thing. You look back at all these things. At least we're not out there doing madness, stabbing things. We're climbing fences to kick ball. That's the way that the world should be.
It should be. If you're gonna like, I think that's what our fun was growing up, wasn't it? It was like breaking the rules to do like things that aren't damaging.
Exactly.
Break into like have some fun at a park.
It's not damaging to society.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No ball games. It's like we're just kicking ball on the grass. Like,
Exactly. Harmless. Harmless.
Whereas, as we can see today, there's a whole new set of problems.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? A whole new set of issues for young people to deal with. But get back to the whole aspect of where we first connected, school days and stuff. Like, what was it like when you left St Mary's, and then what was your journey in football like at that time? Because I was just.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, we need to come back onto where you because you drifted away. Like I didn't know where you was.
Yeah,
what happened to you? But for me, obviously I went to Wexham for my secondary. I'm not no.
So you'd have seen Jeff.
I'm not. I'm not no grammar geezer. Unfortunately, I'm not academically minded. But big up to those people that are, because that's not me.
No. We're all needed in different ways.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I went to Wexham. Obviously, done my thing, studied. And then I come away from there. I took time out in like year 10, which might have been a bit of a mistake, to play basketball, and I loved it, right? Okay, so I had a bit of a change, as you do as a youngster, you're still trying to find yourself. And I was alright at that, because I was just a general sportsman, just like yourself.
You just naturally different things,
accustomed to it. Like you just get involved with it, with any game it may be, because it's sports. But then I come back, obviously finished Wexham, come back to football, like. I went into college, and my studies was sports coaching. Okay, yeah. I done an MVQ 1, 2, and 3. Nice. That's quite quite a few of the boys did. But from there they had a FIDO scheme within the college. Okay. It was linked with Hayes and Yedin. Okay, nice. So I went through that sort of through the ranks all the way from. Under 15s, under 16s, all the way up.
Working your way up. That's a nice touch. Yeah, it's good to be part of a group at that age.
Absolutely, and they were the best times of. They were the best times of my life. You know that football room banter you have as a youngster.
There's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it, is there?
It can't be replicated. It can't even be recorded.
It can't.
It can't go out on the
it can't go out the others. The things that happen, but
man.
Honestly, even the coach journeys, all the boys on the coach. Yeah. You're going to like mad, like just.
Don't even
Preston, I don't even know where. There's like journeys that take forever, but
man.
you just the bonds that you build, man. They're and they're unbreakable. But it was that was a very, very exciting time in my life. Working my way up through the ranks. I look back at the match report sometimes on Google. Just for the sake of it, like you type in your name and you type in your club, and then I've got them under 19 reports like Ash man of the match, magic footwork. Like I'm just like it's nostalgic, bro.
Little shoulder around there, just like
I'm like that was me. But that's what happened. I made my way up into reserves, and then 1920 I sort of broke into the first team. But in that time, things were going wrong with That's when things sort of.
That's got to be the worst time as well, man. Like
because you know how football is.
That's
you might be on the bench the next week, but you might be banging goals, 5 assists in one game, 3 goals. All of a sudden, the next week you're having a bit of a downer, and it's just not going your way. It's going a bit peaked on.
And that's the thing as well. Like that's why I hark back to like what we talked about at the beginning of like when you come from where we come from. Like the outside life, the outside issues can sometimes feel that much more amplified. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not just a go home and just rest up and ice and chill for the next day. Some of us have got things going on.
People don't get that. Like, some people don't understand it. They're not sympathetic towards that. They don't.
No,
they
there
don't
isn't
really,
any real sympathy.
there isn't really.
It's very cutthroat.
It's very, very cutthroat.
It looks like a very friendly game because it starts at grassroots and come on, bring your kiddies down. And
it does.
And next thing you know, now you get into an academy.
When it starts to become like a career, it's like it completely changes. The whole concept of it changes.
I try to explain that to a lot of people because, you know, at school, when I would be coming in, and like, it does sound good to say, of course, you know, you played Arsenal the weekend, you played Chelsea the weekend,
exactly,
you played Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? You mention the names, it's course people are like, oh wow, wow. But they're not seeing what's on the other side, because if you come and spend a week with me, you probably not want to do it.
Yeah,
it's not made for everyone, bro.
It's not. You have to be the willpower, the determination, the mental stability at that young age. It has to be second to none.
It really does. It really does, bro. And
it's not for the weak, is it?
Nah, it's not. And this is why I don't like to diminish any layer of person who goes through it, because what society likes to do is they like to separate us and segregate us away. Like, this kid, oh, look how tough he's got it. He's got this situation, blah, 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 blah. Look at this kid. Oh, he's doing okay. He's come from a certain background. You don't know what's actually going on, though.
Exactly.
And then they try and separate those stories. But they're going for the same goal.
Exactly.
They both want to be pros. So
very true.
The circumstances, the prerequisites ain't changing.
They both have the same end goal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when you get there, are you good enough or are you not good enough?
That's all.
I don't care where your family come from.
What you do, what you have, what it may be.
I'll figure it out after if you're good enough. And that's what we don't understand a lot of the time as we're growing up. And then
you don't.
When you get that decision,
it breaks you.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
It's a very difficult one. And the thing is, for me, it wasn't. I didn't even have a decision. I was in pre-season. Mum just went downhill, and I said, look, I've got to leave, and I've got this to sort out. And I literally never went back to football. That was it for me. I didn't call up the gaffer and say, look, this is my situation. My mind just closed off. But I was 20 years of age. What was I to know? We're young, we're naive, and my whole life I dedicated to football. And it just went in an instance like that, just due to what look, God knows best. That's what happened. And Mum was gone, and that was it. Football was left behind.
I hear what you're saying, man. And you have to come to the realization. I think what happens is, and I speak to some of the guys that I played with, some who made it, some who didn't, and I always like to try and stay connected. And it's weird, bro, because when I first came back from uni, when you've transitioned away from the game, it's when you speak to people who know you for that. It's the reminders, it's people messaging, it's people saying, oh yeah, but you should have, you should have, and it's like, I understand, but I had to get to a point where I understood that.
But that's hard for you to take, right, when you have people saying that to you, because you know your ability.
Bro, it's mad. But at the same token, though, you think about, if the opportunities aren't there, if you're not in the position to actually go and do it. Some people, like we said, people like to make the joke about the injuries. People like to, it's become an age-old thing, innit? Oh, he had a dodgy knee or an ankle.
That's it.
It becomes a thing, and there are probably some people that are milking it.
Absolutely.
But I definitely think there is there's a serious reality when you put, like for myself, I started at 6 years old, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing. Exactly. You think about the age, bro. We're talking about 15 years. Of grind and work on your body before it's even grown.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? People don't think it's a career before the career.
It 100% is. The effect that it does have on your body is insane. I mean, look at me, for example, now. I'm going through.
I don't think there's any footballers, ballers that we know that are like, I ain't got an ankle, my ankle don't click,
ankle don't click, my knee,
my knee ain't clicking, my lower back, whatever. Like, when you put that much wear and tear on your body,
knees.
And knees and ankles.
I mean, I'm 32, and he says to me, your knees, the consultant I saw maybe 3-4 months ago now, he said, your knees are way beyond the 30-year-old's knees. You've got to take it easy. That's good to know.
Cheers, mate.
I'm an old geezer, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, basically. I was trying to get that £100 a week.
But I suppose nice, on the flip side, the amount of the amount of treatment and the care that the ballers get when they're at that level is completely different, right?
Very true.
So that's what allows it to be sustainable.
Yeah, man. It's a layered conversation when it comes to, you know, trying to make it as a pro, as a footballer, because, you know, there's so many scenarios, circumstances, and, you know, there is no rhyme or reason. There's no right answer.
Nah.
And you can't. It's very difficult to even package that and sell it.
Is it potluck? Would you say? Is it timing?
I think it's probably. I'd say it's a holistic package of all of those things that come together. Of course, timing matters. You know, the right timing is perfect. But like, you know, think about training. Everyone's doing the training. Like, if you're not putting in that work, it's going to show.
Absolutely.
You're going to get found out. So that's number one. That's prerequisite.
Yeah.
But then there's a mentality. Well, I would argue that most boys have strong mentalities. I think what they do is they kind of iron us out a bit.
Yeah.
And then they pick from the boys that are super confident, super strong early. You know what I mean? And they go, oh, he's got a great attitude. He's got a great mentality. Do you know what his outside life's saying?
Yeah.
What's going on out there? Yeah. Like, that could be a contributing factor as to why he's so confident right
true.
now.
Attitude is definitely something I could have had as a youngster. I'm sure Tony Thompson would have said that. But he taught me a lot.
But that's the thing, though. We come from where we come from, innit? Like, we're more edgy. We're more likely to rebel. Because we're not raised with that comfortability.
You're right.
When we get into scenarios,
we're a bit streetwise. We're a bit, you know.
Yeah, a bit cheeky. We're a bit seen as, like, you know, can be played off as arrogant sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the way of the thing of life when you come from this position. So, like, not saying that to, like, condone bad behaviour. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying it in terms of,
there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence to you, right?
Very much so.
And it's funny, people tend to think that you are arrogant because of the way you may look, or the way you may dress, or the way you may speak, and you know. But in fact, you know,
I get the snob. I get people thinking that I'm better than them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just because of the way I speak, man. It's just like, it's frustrating, but it's like, if I could speak another way, I would.
But if they actually spoke to you, they don't know how much depth you've got to you, what a gentle soul you are, and it's the same for me. I've had that out. You see, they think that you're some arrogant guy, or it's not the case, man. I'm always here to show love, as I'm sure you are. You know what I mean?
That's what it's about. That's why we're here, bro.
That's why we're here.
You know, like we talked at the beginning, it's like 20 plus years. You don't go that far or that long without talking, and then re-establish a connection like this.
Yeah.
There's no love there. There's no
exactly.
respect and admiration as well, because it goes back and forth too. Because when I think about people like yourself, and I've mentioned some of the other ballers too, they give you bits of inspiration when you're young too. You know, like knowing that there's other ballers in your area who are also doing things. So I'm hearing boys at Chelsea, boys are at Fulham, boys are I'm just at Watford doing my thing. Like, there's other boys at bigger places
still doing their thing.
So it pushes and motivates you to be like, ah, well, cool, you're just at one place, just keep your head down and keep hustling. But what I do want to touch on is transferable skills.
Yeah.
It's a very common thread that I've realised that I want to bring up a lot more.
Yeah.
Because it's a great conversational thing in general, but it's also good to relate to people ways that you can transfer things. And obviously we're talking about ballers and like ball life.
Yeah.
So what would you say is one of the best transferable skills that you took from football into like just the regular world now, like what you do
into everyday life?
Yeah.
In terms of transferable skills, I think it's allowed me to be, I'm gonna have to say the most important and the one that's been the most transferable would be confidence. You know, like, and I know that's for a lot of people, but having confidence in this world I think is key. I don't think you should be quiet and sit there like a mouse, as you get eaten up in this day and age.
It's true.
I think you have to have a voice. And football has definitely taught me, I mean, knowing that I felt that I was good at the game, it brought that confidence to me without a doubt. And it you know, just as a whole in everyday life now, it gets me through a lot of situations, being that confidence. You know, although I might not actually think in my mind, I'm not confident, but I just get myself out of the situation because,
No, I like it. I mean, for me, what I often think about is resilience. You know, and confidence as well. So I think it's kind of linked in there a little bit because you have to be confident enough to be able to resist things. But I think of it like this, like the scenarios and the difficult things I've had to put my body through physically to think about things is like come on, like in the regular everyday world that we live in, a lot of the time when you physically endured and you've gone through pain, struggle, injury, overcome, tell yourself that you're not good enough, tell yourself that, you know what I mean? That you go through.
I get you, and it all ties together, doesn't it? Like self-discipline as well. These things, yeah. Now you've said that. Yeah, come to.
It's not a one thing. I'll just kind of highlight.
They all link together.
Yeah, like when I think about a transferable skill in today's world, I think of the resilience, because it's, you know, it's staying power really. When
You're
you come
right.
to, like, how consistent can you be? Like, how do we get good at football?
The self-discipline that you have to have. You're right. I mean, like you said, just you there in the evenings, and you know, I was over there myself training. Like, we were there, we had that self-discipline at such a young age. You know, 16, like going over and just staying focused. Let me train the left peg, let me train the right peg, I can use both feet. Like, we had that self-discipline to do that at that age. And that's been transferred into life now. In all of, you know, I train 5-6 days a week.
There you go. There you go.
And that has all been transferable, because I'm sticking to a key diet to help myself stay healthy inside. It's important for me for sustainability, for longevity. Like, I want to live as long as God allows me to live, but also, you know, do what I can for my health to keep that going. So yeah, that's the football side of things has allowed that self-discipline, and I think that's one of the key things. Like you mentioned, the resilience, self-discipline, all very much linked together, right? And that confidence.
So true. No, it is, and I mean, like, that's why when I speak with athletes, when I speak with ballers, and I speak with people that have come from a sporting background, they tend to say similar things, because, you know, I think what happens is when you're exposed from a young age to high-level sport, it teaches you that you have to be competent in order to survive. And I think what the world teaches you is that you can get by with bare minimum sometimes. Like, you know, you don't necessarily have to excel. And I think that was a confusing thing for me when I started working for companies, people, brands, is, you know, that idea of, oh, okay, well, the work's done for the day. You know, I'm going to go off and the switch confused me, because I'm one of those people, like, once I commit to something, it's like a 24/7 365 thing. So when I speak with people and they're like, oh, you're not going out to do this, it's like, oh no, I'm going to continue. Well, you're doing that then. It's just like,
How did you find that transition from football to, I don't know, whether you work
going work life?
Work life,
It was difficult. It was difficult because, you know, being pushed academically from a young age was good, because I naturally enjoyed education, which is a bit of an oxymoron for football. So like I said, most footballers are just kind of like, what class? I've won that. What, you ain't kicking? Nah, bruv, I'm outside.
That's it.
I'm kicking it. And I'm like, I'll get you. And then, you know my dad though? Like, go say that to my dad.
Go and say that to him. Exactly.
And then I see my dad and they'll be like, oh, wow, okay, well, yeah, feels good. He's got work to do. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like you said, that protective buffer is there
of
having the family. I think that is important. But if you don't have that, I think the next best thing is the likes of the people like Tony Thompson's of this world. The people you can go to group settings and they're leaders in their field. You know, it could be sport, it could be community, it could be teachers, mentors, anything. I think seek out individuals that are, you know, well esteemed in their field. You know, because you can just pick up things, and then, like you said, the transferable skills, I think they're hard to teach. I think they're more intrinsic. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, self-discipline. You already had that. You just had to understand that could be transferred into what you're doing now. That's why you're at the gym 5 days a week.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just like with me, I had to understand resilience was a thing that could be transferable, because in a lot of footballers or athletes, they get stuck thinking the things I have only help me in sport. In this
situation.
That's it.
Exactly.
Once I go out there,
how am I going to use
different.
it?
How can I use this? And it's that process of education is what I think will help alleviate a lot of the young people suicides. A lot of the, you know, people killing themselves. A lot of people depression, anxiety, and it ruins lives.
And it absolutely does. And you know, touching upon that, there's a lot of that goes on that I suppose that's not mediarised, and we never hear about it, but stats are like huge, right? On that sort of thing, especially in like men.
It's huge.
Because like we said earlier,
performance.
Like without a doubt. Like what I was saying earlier, I was touching upon it. I'm a guy that don't talk about many things, especially to other people, even my close group, my close circle, my immediate family. I'm a very private guy, as I'm sure there is many geezers out there like that. But I just don't want to talk about it. But I think it's, you know, in this day and age, there's a lot of people out there that have made it a thing, and it's good that now people are starting to talk about it. You know, and hopefully we can bring them sort of numbers down, because, you know, I've had powers that have spoken to me and said, look, you know, actually, I'm down, I'm feeling a bit down, and this and that. I'm not depressed, I'm not down, and it's good that I've got powers that can engage in that conversation with me, because they know me as a person, as you do. My mental stability, like, I keep myself grounded to I stay focused. I don't let nothing get me down. I'll always be like, no, we get a little bit of stress, but
we always,
because of my life experiences, you know, as we know, losing mum, you know, things that have happened, growing up fast, it's made me resilient to the world, made me hard to the world. I'm not an emotionless person. I show love, you know, to my immediate friends, family, and so on. But I'm always very hard in my, you know, in helping someone. I'm a bit harsh in how I help them. Rather than I'm empathetic, but I'm also very hard. I'm like, I give them the real shit. Like, I give them the real facts. Excuse my French. Rather than sugarcoating things, I'm like, look, you need to pick yourself up. Do this, do that. Like, there's no reason for you to have that thought process. Why are you thinking like that? Why don't we take the positive? Stop thinking negatively. You know, we don't have to get ourselves into that deep depression and that dark mental space. There's no need for it. You know, I was 20, I could have easily done that. See, I could have easily said, right, forget it. You know what, let me go and sell drugs. You know, I've had it there, like I said before, let me go and do this. It's not about that, see. We don't need to do that.
Facts.
You know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's true. And that resilience, brother. That resilience, it comes back to support you in times when you don't realise it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's why I think these conversations are important. And you touched on something that's really important as well. And I created, I don't know, we spoke about this before, Mind to Emotions, which is initially a concept about discussing mental health. And I have now evolved that to want to turn that more into like a mentorship program. Because instead of sitting there, like you said, and discussing the pain, the trauma, the talk, I think that is healthy to a degree. But if it stays there and we maintain that and that becomes the thing, it's a circle of the same conversation. Now, when that stops and they got to go back to the real world, or they got to go and do other things, that sticks with you now. You know what I mean? The last conversation you had about it was just talking about it, but you wasn't able to have a solution, a plan, that somebody you know maybe going through it, they can talk to you differently, share something. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think what I wanted to do more is, instead of just have conversations about mental health, like, use the problems and the issues that come from it, and see how we can alleviate through programs, through doing things, through action. You know what I mean? But instead of sitting and resting on our laurels and, you know, getting inside your head too much, I think the healthiest version that I've realised is, coming back to sport, is being active. You know,
doing something.
That next game, that next training session.
Exactly. Or even like gym, you know, we know all these things. They release good endorphins. They release that dopamine, which is what you need to bring that happiness.
Facts.
You know,
so
that's
true.
And like you said, I think even if it's not, if there is people that aren't into sports, they just need to find something to keep the mind stimulated, to keep that focus, have an end goal. You know, have these dreams and focus on those dreams. But ultimately, you've got to have the goal. Otherwise, they are just dreams to you. And you know, you need that end goal, man, because that's what gives you that path to follow. Focus. You know?
And I also say as well, like, one of those things where if you have a plan, you can always revert back to the plan and then change and alter and adjust
as you need to.
Whereas if you don't, you can't even recollect back what you've done well.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing it got me. It wasn't so much that operating freely was a problem. It was that once you do, how do you recollect what you did? If you didn't plan, or you didn't think about it, at least. Because like, if you go off the plan and it changes, that's fine. If it alters and adjusts, that's cool. But if you've got nothing to go off of, you're going off of just what's in here, it's fleeting.
Exactly.
It's fleeting. It comes and it goes. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh wow, how did I get back to that feeling of what I did before? As opposed to, oh yeah, I did that, and let me go back and try that again, and let me switch that, let me bring him in, and like, perfect example is this platform.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started, I was clueless, bro. Oh my gosh, I'm sitting there like, what microphone, what audio? I'm a visual guy, so photography and video I got a good understanding of.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the audio and how you blend and how you put it together, then what are you going to talk about? You know, what's your talking points? Who are you going to get on?
Exactly.
There's a lot of things to consider when you think about podcasting. But the biggest thing for me was providing value to the people that I sit down with and sharing time.
Yeah,
it's very simple. But a lot of people out there want to, you know, they want the viral talking point, they want the trend, they want the big glitz and glamour. But for me, I gain so much value from just taking one or two small bits from each conversation.
Exactly, and all different walks of life, many different sort of, you know, people doing different things, whatever it may be. And like you said, we all learning from each other. Every day's a school day, isn't it, T? And you know, you can always educate yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, you'll teach me something that I don't have a clue about. I'll teach you something that you may not know, and you know, the next man or the next lady we'll learn from. You said, and it's all about learning.
Yeah, that's so true.
And just having that good energy, being in good company, you know, keeping a close knit circle around yourself, T, as well.
Yeah, that is important,
isn't it?
Very important, especially I've noticed that over the last few years is the people that you connect with and you collaborate with. Massive.
It is, isn't it?
Massive, because you know they don't only influence you.
Yeah.
They also affect you.
Yeah.
Because influence is good, because influence is kind of like, oh yeah, I like that, that's cool, and then you can maybe lead a few people over there. Whereas, you know, affecting you, impacting you is like that close connect. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're impacting each other, we're affecting each other.
We're pushing each other. Because if we've got someone that just sits back, don't have no drive, no ambition, goals, dreams, whatever it may be, then
but they wouldn't be in this building.
They wouldn't.
They wouldn't be doing things that you're doing, being resilient.
Exactly.
You know, overcoming after serious loss. You know what I mean? That's the power, brother.
That is the power.
You know,
and you got to keep, like, you know, it's important to keep them good people around you, because that rubs off on you, right?
Yeah, it does.
You know?
It does, and in ways you don't even realise.
Ways you don't realise, just that mentality. You know, if you've got someone that's sitting there and doesn't have that drive and ambition, that could rub off on you, and you don't want that. You need to keep the energy around you, the drive, the business. You know,
very true, very true.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been talking a little bit about obviously like sport and coming from, because that's what we do, and like kickball, and we can talk from that vantage point. But you know, we also want to talk a little bit about, if you aren't, let's say, that athletic person, and you're just like, you know, a regular kid growing up, you're a regular young person, how you can also use some of these same strategies, because they're quite universal topics. They're things that anyone can kind of tap into. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of finding and discovering your purpose, transitioning out of school into adult life. You know, because what I've realised is that period of leaving school to adult life is where we lose the most casualties. It's the most casualties, bro. Like, if you look at things that happen bad in life, that period, 18 to 24, 25,
is where
most people done.
Yeah,
they've made permanent decisions, or they've done things that they didn't really understand the implications of before. And that's when, after the fact, you have the you know, the story of, oh, I wish I didn't do that, or I wish I didn't do this. But for me, I really want to get ahead of that and be like, how can you prevent young people from going down certain paths they can avoid? Because certain things you have to live through, but certain things you can avoid. You know what I mean? So like, what would you say on that, bro? Like, in terms of young people you see, what you've interacted with, to like give them those skills to, you know, come into the adult world.
Yeah, I mean, for me, T, I would say that I think they need to, again, coming back to having a focus. I think the most important thing is that transition from coming out of, you know, high school, secondary school to, you know, your adolescence ages, and, you know, growing up as that adult teenager and whatnot. I think it's so important to have your focus set on something, whether that be like it isn't in sports, but whether you're going to be, I don't know, you might want to be a pilot, you might, I mean, you just need to, I think you need to go down you need to know which route you want to go down. Like you have to know, because otherwise, you know, I coasted and I've got a sales background and stuff, and I've done all right in my life, and you know, I've got plans and we've got things going on, and you know, so thank God I'm all right. But I think they need to have some structure so they don't go off on the wrong path, and they don't get, and it also comes down to your crowd of who's around you. Coming back to that again, influences around you, you know, having the right friends around you, because in them stages, you know, you're finding yourself, right? 18 to 24 is when you're finding yourself as a person, without a doubt.
100%.
You know, it takes a while to find yourself, but you need to, I think, if I was to say anything to youngsters of this day and age, is really know what you want to do, so you can create that structure early on, rather than just sort of, you know, hitting the clubs all the time or whatever it may be, because that's what's out there on social media, holding a bottle of Ciroc up, or you know, holding Dom Perignon. Like, who cares about that? Celebrate when you want to, but you know, focus on your career and get yourself
what you want to do, essentially.
Get yourself on that path to achieve your goal.
That's big talk, bruv. I mean, that's why I like to bring people on who they live what they say. You know, it sounds very easy to spin off, but the reality is some people will sell you things that they're not necessarily doing
themselves.
It's just the way of the world. We have to be.
They're hypocritical. Like, I don't live that way, you know. I don't go into the clubs every weekend. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I don't drink a drop of alcohol, and I haven't for 12 years. Not a drop. But that's not. I'm not saying alcohol's a bad thing. That's up to the next person if they want to drink alcohol. But I think
it exposes you to my experience with the whole vices, nightlife, all of that stuff. Is it's a perpetual cycle, isn't it? There isn't an end point. And just ask people, and I know from my dad's generation, his mates, and other people that I've known growing up. They'll tell you, you ain't missing anything.
You're not missing nothing.
You're not missing anything.
And there's generations that are older than us, and they're way more wiser than us, and they've lived it, been through it. And and they're telling us that, but we're old enough to know now that even like 18 to 24, 25, that honestly, that life is not good.
It's well too.
It doesn't benefit you in any way.
Not really, no, it doesn't. I mean,
you enjoy yourself. I'm not saying, like, I'm not no party pooper. Like, I'll be there dancing in the bar till 5 a.m. But I don't need to drink a drop of alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from, bro. It's like, it's almost like you don't want to seem as like, you know, the goody two shoes.
Exactly.
You're coming across like, don't do that. Don't ever go out, never drink, have fun.
That's not me. I'm not a boring geezer, and anyone to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's just about being more selective with your choice of fun, enjoyment, let's say. And I think that goes back to what you said as well about people you're connected with, because, you know, my friend circle and the people I hang out with, you know, they have cool things they want to do when they've got time. You know, let's link up, let's go here, let's go get some food, let's go do this event. It's different experiences as opposed to let's just go find this place we can drink. People can teach you things, but I think what you really need is you need the ability to be able to like translate through actual living it. So like when they say about like people that live what they say, I mean that when I sit down with you, I know you personally, so I know that the things that you're saying you're actually doing. You know what I mean? So I think it's partly distance and that connection. Because the more you know people, the more you can validate those things.
Without a doubt.
This is why I think it's a bit more of a struggle, because let's be honest, more people, if they look at their followers and the people that they actually look at and follow online, a lot of people you never met them. Never met them, never will meet them.
And you don't know, there's a lot of fabrication out there too, and then, you know, people could be putting stuff up that they're not actually, you know, they might be putting this stuff up but they don't actually live by it. But you know, people who know you, they know how you are as a person. People who know me, they know how I am as a person. And I'm not here to like fabricate things. Like that's, I'll practice what I preach.
There you go.
Like I am like that. I'm not going to give advice to my pal, to you, to my good, you know, my next pal that I'm not following myself. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
You know.
I know exactly what you mean, bro.
And I'm not saying someone needs to be like how I'm living or do what I'm doing, but you know, I feel that I'm going in the right direction for me personally. Someone else might not think that, but I think I'm living all right.
It's the confidence in self.
Yeah, I think I'm looking all right. I think things are going in the right direction. And that might sound arrogant to people, but I'm not arrogant.
No. It's looking good and feeling good. They go together.
They go
hand in hand, and it's really a true statement when people say, like, you know, when you do feel good, it reflects.
It reflects
in your image, your style.
People want to be around you, see. You know,
because they see that what you're doing is a positive thing. Let's be honest. It's easy to be bad. I said this the other day. It's very easy to be bad. It takes effort to actually be a good person.
Absolutely, bro, and that's powerful words you're saying right there. Anyone can be bad.
Easy. Right now, we can go outside. Right now, any one of these people walking up the high street, let's go rob them.
Yeah, exactly.
Make some money. I'm struggling.
How easy is that?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
it takes effort
to actually go out there and actually start a conversation.
Yeah.
When you're in, like, I was at a quick random story, but I like these.
Yeah.
I was at the train station when I was working last year for a company that I was doing a bit of like part-time work with. A property investment company.
Nice.
But I was basically, it's like near Victoria Station.
Okay.
So I go down after work. I'm like, yeah, cool. Rush down to catch a train, and you know, it's
the madness,
the madness, peak time trains. You got
the sweats on and out,
sweating down 45 degrees, 100 degrees down there. They're like, what is it?
Of course.
Anyway, running down, and train must have been delayed, cancelled, whatever. And there was a guy, the conductor on the platform, and he's basically trying to get people to, like, you know, just let them know, hey guys, you know, that train's not coming, it's going to be cancelled, the next one will be coming this time. For me, it was interesting of just like, I just sat back for a minute and I just watched people's interactions, and it just gave me a clear understanding of how society really moves. It's really not as friendly and as open-minded as we think it is.
It isn't.
We talk about collaboration and networking and we're all so connected as a team.
Yeah.
And then you walk out into the street and you go down, and the guy was genuinely just trying to gain people's attention. You could see him trying to gain eye contact with people
no one
to try
wants
and be
to
friendly. Everyone was just like, what are you saying? Like what?
Just attitude about it.
Just vexed. Oh, what would you mean? Again? This dusty train, bro. People were going vexed. And I was just like, wow. Just person after person after person. Then got towards almost the end, and he looks over, and I was just standing in the corners on my phone, and I looked over, and I locked eyes with him for a second, and I was just like, I feel you, bro. I feel you. And he goes, at least someone does. He's like, have a good day, bro.
But not everyone's like you, T. You're 1 in a million. You know? It's good to give people time. Man.
I love that, man. And I love those moments because it makes me appreciate what my skill is.
Yeah.
While everyone else is doing this and moving in one direction.
That guy's like gone home and thought about that. Yeah. You know, that situation that happened. He thought, 100%. What a nice geezer he is. True or not?
100%.
Absolutely.
And I don't do it for that reaction.
You don't.
That's the thing. When you do it, you just do it because that's
for your own satisfaction. You know, it makes you feel good. 100%. Again, you know,
that reciprocity should be given when it's like exchanging time and energy. Do you know what I'm saying, bro? But like, that just made me think just like of how society shifted. You know, no one's got patience, no one's got attention anymore.
You don't even walk past someone and say good morning. It depends on where you live, I suppose. I mean, you go to certain villages and that's still there. Like, but
it is.
It's nice for the world to be like that. Why 100%. Is it so like everyone's against each other? Like
it is.
Just show love.
But then, what's the result? Because you think based off of the technology and the buildings and the cars and everything we have, we're actually moving forward. But as a society, as a people, communities are failing.
We certainly
economy's struggling.
Yeah,
they're on the underbelly, underneath the surface. When you pull back the veil,
absolutely.
It's not as good as what people are saying it is.
Of course it is.
You know? So like when they tell us about just worry about your digital image, worry about putting yourself out there, worry about you got to do this much, this actively. I think you really have to take pause actually. And the most success I've found has been taking a step back and reanalyzing, okay, what I'm doing, who I'm working with, shaving down certain things that are just unnecessary.
Yeah,
because
like you said about getting on trends and jumping, you just want to real life situations and just like, sort of being natural with it rather than just hopping on the next trend. You just want like,
you want that. I want to build something that's timeless.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't want to build something that can just like flow in with the wind and flow out.
Yeah,
you know, I want something that can come down, it can put roots down, it can put anchors down, and then invite others, and then you branch from there. You know,
bring it all together
like a tree, isn't it?
Absolutely,
like a tree. And that's what I think is for me, this space is so key, because like, you know, the consistency really is the driving arm of it. You know what I mean? Because I've seen certain platforms that have, you know, blown up overnight. I've seen some that take 5-10 years to develop. It really comes down to like, if your outside focus is what I'm going to get from this at the end, then you maybe need to reanalyze it, as opposed to what I'm giving through the process. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to worry about the end, because I don't want there to be an end. Like, hopefully the legacy can continue on, and it can turn and manifest and change into different things. But I think
God willing, and you deserve that.
That would be the blessing. Do you know what I mean? So like, I think it goes
put
back
goodness out into the world too. All your positive vibes.
I have to, brother. I have to, especially where we come from. You know, like, I really am passionate about, you know, changing the narrative, shifting the narrative of where we come from. Not for my sake, because I'm good. I could easily, like you said, just tuck away in a nice little village.
Exactly.
I've got professional skills.
You do.
I don't need to sell anything. Don't need to push anything. But it's your will and desire. You know?
Exactly.
And I always think that if you think about things that are greater than you, you'll always be okay. It's when you start to think of more within, of like, this is for me, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get that. You'll probably get what you're looking for. But when you turn around and you look around, there ain't going to be many people in your circle.
100%.
Not trustworthy anyway.
It was like what you was mentioning there. We were speaking about it briefly last time, about changing the narrative. You know, even for the youngsters around here, because that's what you're passionate about. That's, you know, it'd be nice to change around here for sure. But sorting out, you know, bringing that community together, kicking ball, you know, getting a few names together. You know, I remember us having that conversation. You know, bringing the youngsters all together, sort of like Tony and Lawrence, how they brought everyone together as a community in the balling days. It'd be nice for us to sort of bring that sort of thing back. You know,
that would
get a few ballers, teach 100%. The youngsters, let them know.
It's a great insight
and guide them.
It's mentorship, isn't it?
Because there's a lot of people around here that, you know, growing up in the States, don't have much, you know, opportunity.
No, they don't, bro.
It'd be nice for us to be able to do something along those lines.
Yeah, exactly. So that you create that inspiration. I know. Like, you just give them that one spark of like, oh yeah, I can do that, and sometimes just that is enough to give them, you know, get the engine rolling. Exactly that. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, brother. I mean, it's been an amazing conversation. I mean, that's what I said about free flowing conversations. These are what the kind of conversations I prefer, and I mean, obviously the audience will let us know what they like. But
of course they will.
I tend to really like to have conversations with people that I know that there's going to be something shared, there's going to be some good value, but you get to see real people. Do you know what I'm saying? Real people from where you come from. You might know them. And you can tell by the intention of the conversation that this isn't just some flash in the pan thing. No. Do you know what I mean? This is about setting roots down and really bigging up and giving flowers to the people that come on, man. So
absolutely,
that's why it's a blessing to have anyone comes on here, because I don't feel like I'm kind of selecting individuals. It's more of, you just do it as an energy exchange of like, I kind of feel what you're saying, and we have good conversations. We should have a conversation about it in a pod, as opposed to, I want to get this named person because they're going to bring me X amount of this or X this. And you're not about that. You don't need, you're just doing it organically to it, and I respect that big time. And I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to sit on here and have a conversation with you know, and obviously talk to the people. That's what I'm saying. You know? Like, people, like, you know what's funny? I always think about, like, and we'll get to that as my final point, because I always end with this, but I always think about something that we might say today is probably going to affect some young person out there, or some person out there, who's like, you know what? And then they now either hone in on something they're already doing, or they shift to something they should be doing. Exactly. You know? So
Yeah, I mean, giving advice to someone, that if there was something that I could say...
Well, that's how I was going to end. That's just what makes me think about this conversation.
Yeah.
But, that being said, one thing I do usually always ask as a kind of like a final question is, you know, what would be some of the advice you would give to that young version of, you know, the Ashley Barnes that's out there?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That young 12, 13-year-old cheeky kid.
That cheeky guy.
Yeah. What would you have to
around
say
with a couple of cuties at 12. And
Listen, mate, don't tell them too much.
Don't tell them too much. Than a few football. No, I'm joking.
I've seen behind the scenes. I can validate.
Yeah, no, what I would say to you is, in hindsight now, I think the young Ashley at 12 is... I think I would have liked to have a backup because God knows best. I didn't know Mum was going to go, but as I said, I sort of coasted after that, and I found my way. But I think it's imperative that you have a plan. You know, have a plan. Your plan may not always go to plan. It may go like this. But you have to have that end goal, and you will get there. Whatever that plan may be, whether that's you want £1 million in the bank, whether you want to own a business, you know, you want to be your own boss, whatever that may be, have a goal. Always have a plan. If you're into sports, literally, make sure you got a backup.
Very true.
That's it in a nutshell. Just have a backup. And know where you want to go if it doesn't work out. And that's coming from a football perspective.
No, that it could also translate over
to just normal.
Normal life. Bravo. No, I mean, man, it's been a blessing.
Absolutely,
it's been a blessing, and
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, I knew this conversation was going to be a great one anyway, just because, you know, it's been a long time since we've had a chance to really sit down and have a good conversation like that. I mean, for sure. But also just time in between of us knowing each other. You know what I'm saying? Like from primary school days to a lot's happened in between that time. You know what I'm saying?
It sure has.
It's really cool to see that, you know, you're doing really well now.
Likewise.
You know, and that's what I'm talking about, man. Like it's that symbiotic connection with people you know you've grown up with, and then it just kind of inspires you to continue on.
Exactly,
you know that, and that's really,
you know, you inspire me to continue on. I see you doing your thing, and you know, we just got to keep striving to be the best versions of ourselves, man. And
that's facts.
That's it.
Yeah, man. Well, bruv, the wonderful Ashley Barnes people, you guys will know him from the Slough area, and yeah, man, this guy, very, very powerful, brother. Real talk.
Peace and love means a lot.
Yeah, man. No, real talk. I mean, you can tell, like, we have good conversations in general. Do you know what I mean? But I thought it was really important to bring me onto this platform so we could discuss and share some of that with the people.
So much love, and I appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah, brother.
I'm hoping that, you know, something that I may have said today may help just one person.
Yeah,
you know?
I say that a lot too.
Yeah,
so true.
May not help anyone, but I'm hoping that it helps one person. They may have been in a similar situation, or you know.
Yeah, brother, 100%. And I mean, we're talking behind the scenes of a couple of projects that currently working on behind the scenes to, you know, re-establish some of that connection that may have been lost, or just to kind of spark back up an energy for, you know, the local area and maybe surrounding as well. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, stay tuned for that. And just pleasure to have you on, my God.
Thank you for having me, T. Watch your space.
Yeah, watch your space, bro. Listen, yeah.
Love.
You're gonna see his face again at some point soon, and I hope you guys enjoyed this bit more of a bit more of a casual sit down, fluid conversation. Talks about life, talks about, you know, transferable skills. You know what I'm saying? Like important things that people can take. But I think there's also a little bit of style and flavour in there that they'll tap into. The right ones will tap into.
Exactly.
The ballers know what we're talking about. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the ballers always got our back still.
There you go.
But yeah, man. Big up yourself if you're from Slough, man. Real talk. I know Slough is a bit of a bad rep, and
it certainly does.
Rightfully so in some cases.
Rightfully so in some cases. It does get a bad rep, but you know, hopefully it sorts itself out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. A
couple of us are trying to be that beacon for some of the youngsters to be able to, you know, use it, package it up, but don't let it stop you. You know, allow it to help you move in that direction,
for sure,
in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? But yes, beautiful people, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did,
pass this along then maybe to somebody that might resonate with this message. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I think that's the biggest key.
Show love.
You know what I'm saying? Always. But until the next episode, I will see you beautiful people very soon. Peace and love.